Okay, so I think I've got the camera and everything loaded right. Um, Whenever I was thinking on a project today, I really wanted to touch base on something very different than we have talked about in class. We talked about lots of bluegrass music and old time music, and of course how to incorporate that into being a performer. And so I wanted to kind of add something in that was really dear to my heart, and that is Celtic music. So being a Irish descendant. Celtic music has always just been something that I like. I remember whenever I got my first kind of Irish song whenever it was in fiddle lesson, I got so excited, and I went home and played it for my parents, and they absolutely loved it too. So something really kind of different and fun, and something only instrumental most of the time. Of course, there's all kinds of Celtic songs, Irish songs with words in it. But whenever I think of Celtic songs that I like to play, it's all pretty much instrumental songs. And since we only have 10 minutes, I want to go over 3 of the many different types of Celtic songs. There's jigs, hornpipes, reels, polkas, waltzes, slide jigs, double jigs, all different kinds of strathspeys. Just all different kinds of Celtic music that you can play. But the first one that I want to touch base on is the reel. The reel is probably, I think, the most common in Irish music, in my opinion. Some may argue with me about that, but I think that reels are very, they're fast and they're lively tunes, and they make you happy, and they kind of have that upbeat tune to it. And also, you can almost, when you're hearing a reel, even just like I'm getting ready to play here in a minute, which is solo, you can almost hear the drum in the background, because it's good to tap your feet to, keep a beat to. So it's really very different, and really just a whole lot of fun. So the example of the reel that I'm going to give you is St. Anne's reel. Generally, whenever people write a reel, it's in 2/4 or 4/4, excuse me. Obviously, you can find exceptions out there, but the general idea of a reel is in 2/4 or 4/4. So this is St. Anne's reel. So that was St. Anne's reel. So the second type of Celtic tune that I'm going to talk about is the hornpipe. I really like the hornpipe a whole lot. It's kind of gives you a different feel to the Irish tune. It's, as far as the differences between that and a jig, it has a little bit more of a relaxed, bouncy tempo. The reason it gets that bounce is from the triplets. Not every hornpipe has triplets in it, but most of them that you learn and play do have some sort of triplet feel in there. And the tune I have picked out for it is Harvest Home, and I actually just learned it a few months ago. It hasn't been very long, and it's become one of my favorites. Even though it's a really simple tune, there's nothing too hard or really challenging about it. It's just really just kind of a relaxed tune if you just want to get out and jam. So it's really fun. So here's Harvest Home. Alright, so the next one that I want to talk about is the double jig. Most people, whenever I talk to bluegrass majors or minors, when they think of Celtic music, they think of the jig. Jig, of course, is another kind of fast and lively tune. There's technically three different types of jigs, but the one I want to talk about today is the double jig. It's probably the most popular. Whenever you're thinking about how the music is written, it's generally in a 6/8 type feel, and they normally have several quarter notes and dotted quarter notes in there to break up the sequences of the eighth notes in there, so it's not all eighth notes. And it just kind of gives you just a little bit of a different feel. The song that I'm going to play for you today is a little bit darker than the other two. It's called Morrison's Jig. It's very popular, probably one of the most popular jigs around. Whenever I tend to think of a jig, I think of Morrison's Jig. It was the first one that I learned. It gives that kind of a minery feel to the sound of the music whenever you hear it. It's also a great dance tune. So here's Morrison's Jig. So really what I want to do to tie in the whole presentation with what we have been doing this semester is something that you can kind of incorporate Celtic music in with performing as a band, even as a bluegrass band or an old-time band, even a country band if you wanted to. Generally every bluegrass band that I have been in, we try to tie in some sort of Celtic song. Really the reasoning in that is just simply because it livens up the crowd. The crowd, it's always a crowd pleaser. Generally when we're talking about bluegrass music, a lot of times bluegrass is high, lonesome sound. It's, got the kind of a sad feel to a lot of the music. And whenever I'm thinking about writing a song, if I've been going through a trial or something in my life, I'll generally write a song about it. And so most of the time those are sad songs. So I think that's a lot of times what happens in bluegrass music is you get a lot of sad things happening. And so I think a Celtic tune is kind of a pick-me-up in the middle of a bluegrass session. It also kind of gives you a chance to show off. I think we all, as musicians, like to show off every once in a while. And especially for the fiddle player, I'm kind of biased, but it gives you a great time to get out there and really show off different timings. I'm throwing all kinds of triplets in there, so it's really a neat thing to add into a concert. And also, it can tie into great interaction on stage between you and your fellow band members because you can really get into it, almost duel with it, and you can, depending on the positioning of your microphone, you can switch back and forth. And it's really hard for me not to dance, at least a little bit, whenever I'm playing a Celtic song because it's just so much of a pick-me-up and kind of makes you feel lively inside. So it's great interaction between you and your band members, and I think it really sends a good type of, mood, I guess, toward your audience and feeling toward your audience. Now it's also a really good thing to kind of bring you together as a band. Whenever you're practicing at home, practicing together somewhere, not doing a show, generally sometimes it just tends to be all business and no fun, and sometimes it's great to add some fun in there. And a Celtic song is a great way to do that because you can tie one into the other, so you can get it into just this one big, huge 30-minute jam session if you want to. And it just really helps you to get to know each other as musicians and as, just get in touch with each other's styles. So it's really a fun thing to do. So I really think that Irish and Celtic music, Scottish music is a great way to tie in even to the bluegrass and the old time spectrum. So That's it for my presentation. I want to say Merry Christmas, and hopefully we won't have any ice or snowstorms and get stuck anymore. So I know it's been a crazy week. So Merry Christmas. Bye.